This is RTP. This is RTP180.
What I'd like to talk to you a little bit is actually a company just right around the corner. I think it's about 800 yards, if I measured it correctly. We're right down on TW Alexander. AgBiome's been in existence since 2013. We're up to about 90 employees now, and I'll talk a little bit about how we were started, what we are focusing on, but we're all ag related in everything we do. And one of the key things that we focus on is sustainable ag. And what we look for is trying to find solutions for all the problems that are now associated with growing crops around the world. We work with a lot of products to control insect problems, nematode problems, fungi problems, and I'm going to talk about a particular product that we just received registration for and we have launched in the United States and we'll be launching around the world over the next few years. We've been very fortunate that we've had a very large food supply in the United States, and those of you not familiar with ag, it's a constant struggle every year, and we lose a considerable amount of our crops to pest. They're upwards to 30–40% depending on what year. Most of the time you hear about droughts and other weather conditions that affect what's going on, but I tend to work on the critters, so to speak, that are affecting the crops and how do we control those and keep those at bay. Now what AgBiome is doing and how we got started is we work on the microbe, the soil organisms that we will actually extract from the soil, recreate these, grow these out, and to determine whether they've had certain activities on certain pests. Now we're blessed in the sense that we're funded by Bill and Melinda Gates, we're funded by the Fidelity Group, we're funded by Polaris, Arch, Utimco. We've raised $118 million since 2013. We just received a large Series C funding a few months ago. So we're quite active and growing. We're right now expanded into 3 buildings right over here on TW Alexander on 104 Park. And so we're growing quite readily. Now where we focus, this particular slide is just a snapshot of the number of employees that we have, plus the number of product successes they've had over the years. Some of you may recognize some of these brand or trade names. We work on a platform called Genesis. Genesis platform is our ability to isolate these microbes in the soil. Now just a gram of soil will have close to 1 billion plus microbes. So think about every time we get samples, and we get samples from soils around the world now, we get samples of leaves and other things. So we have to basically isolate the microbes at that point down to single strands. If we see activity with a microbe, we try to understand, is it the microbe complex itself, or is it a protein or a peptide in the microbe that we can isolate and then move in a lot of the gene and trait work that we've got on one side of the building. So this diagram, it exposes or it points out that we have 2 different pathways for what we're discovering. Both equally is important in ag production around the world and sustainable ag. We now have the largest microbe selection in the world. You can be real proud of the fact that we've now doubled what worldwide is known in many of these areas. Our sequencing technology that we've developed, we can go down to what we call a P-morph level of sequencing, and we've isolated of the 55,000, we've now done gene sequencing on today probably over 48,000. This gives us a huge array of assay materials that we can look at. So keep in mind, every one of those is being screened for activity. We have now branched out into probiotics, animal health, and formed a new company that's part of AgBiome called Life Edit. So we're now into CRISPR technology, gene editing, Cas9 technologies. So this isolation that we've done here has also generated over 200 million genes that we've identified that have some particular use in what we do in agriculture. We have also added a tremendous amount of IP around everything we do. So we own most of what we've got and we've sequenced. This is our first new product. I don't know if you would notice, but a lot of my staff members are NC State ag graduates, and I don't know if you see the, we're real proud of this. Howler is, thank you. We've, I don't mean to offend the Chapel Hill or the Durham group, but we're We've launched Howler. Howler is our first product. It is came from a microbiome that we found in a Texas farm field. Isolated it, grew this. We now manufacture this product up at ADM in Decatur, Illinois. Most of you know who ADM, they're very large. I believe they're about $70 billion company now. But we're quite active with this product and moving it into the market. This is what happens when you don't use a fungicide and when you use a fungicide. This is a total loss of a cucurbit field. We now see that we've got also pressures from the EPA on environmental loads, residues that we're working on. This particular product is an organic product that can be used in organic operations, and it is approved by EPA. Pseudomonas chloraphis is the product. I won't spend a lot of time on this. It's a wonderful product for a variety of different disease pathogens that we've launched. This is actually a real picture. That's an Asian soybean rust spore, the brown, and the blue is Howler attacking it. So that's an actual shot that we colorized. So to give you kind of a real life of what this thing's doing. Last slide. This is our brand new building. We've opened it at the beginning of, it actually opened in January 16. We've expanded this building in 17. We're now building another facility. So we're in the process of adding, we're at 3 buildings now. Again, right over here on 104, and now expanding into multiple locations around the world. So thank you very much. Thank you.